what I want to do right now is show you like what the pre-alpha that we have right now looks like, to give a big more clearer picture of how it could work. So let me just close the presentation and open Firefox. I guess the session probably timed out. Yeah, so I'm just gonna log in. So on the left side, you have the C4PO application, and on the right side, you have the Juice Shop, which is another OWASP project. This is basically an application that is extremely vulnerable and has a lot of issues, as you can see. Like if you go to the scoreboard, you can basically try out different kind of attacks and see how they would work, and maybe find out how to try to mitigate them. So we are going to use this application because it's pretty simple to demonstrate of how the C4PO project would be used here. So yeah, let's go just back on the main page for the Juice Shop and have a look. So let's say we have already agreed with the customer on the different scope of the project. We can create a new project for it. So the title would basically be the Juice Shop. The client in this case could be the OWASP, and I will do the penetration test. And then we can just create a project. We don't have any progress right now because we haven't done anything. We also support like different kind of languages, at least for now, English and German. If there are any other languages in the future, I guess we have to see if they are really needed. But yeah, just focus on the English side right now. And if we then click inside of the pen test, we can see the different categories that are also inside of the OWASP testing guide. And for each category, we can see the different kind of objectives that we would have to go through in order to make a thorough penetration test. So yeah, in case this is basically one-to-one what would also be included inside of the testing guide. Let's take, for example, like client-side testing, checking for DOM-based cross-site scripting. So what we have right here is more or less the same summary of this specific objective with some additional stuff and explanation about the vulnerability that we try to find. We can also always go directly to the official OWASP guide in case we want some additional information about the objective we are working on. But yeah, let's just take a look at this. I won't read everything here because that would be a bit too time consuming. Basically, we have like we want to look for a cross-site scripting vulnerability. This usually comes, we can find it somewhere where a user can input something, input written to the page by the server. In a way, it does not directly allow cross-site scripting or input obtained from the client-side JavaScript objects. So yeah, I guess we can just set the objective in progress right now, since we want to work on it, and then yeah, see how maybe where in the application we can do this this kind of vulnerability. So if we have a look at the application, there are not really a lot of input fields right now, except for inside of the header. There's a search bar, so maybe we can try directly here if cross-site scripting would work. So we just insert, or maybe this is a, I don't know if you can see my screen good enough. I just try to make it a little bit bigger so that you can see what I type. I just use like the iframe, give it a source, having inside of it JavaScript, trying to do an alert. Basically, what we want to do is just show cross-site scripting and then see if it works. And as we can see, we directly get the cross-site scripting, like the notification pop-up that we put in right here. So this was successful. And now we could go back to the application. I guess it just zoom out right now because we don't need the direct input fields. And if we go over to the findings, there's nothing right now, but since we found something, we can add it, maybe give it a title like search bar cross-site scripting. We can set the severity of this finding, maybe like put it into high right now. just for the fun of it, and then add a bit of description. So we can write adding, I guess I will just copy paste it out of what we have put into the search bar. Adding this cross-site scripting in the search bar of the header results in cross-site scripting, or in a cross-site scripting vulnerability. And the impact of this vulnerability would be, just for the fun, right? This impacts the web app, just for now. And then the fact URL, I guess we can directly copy outside the URL with the search query directly in it. Maybe, guess it would be fun. And then after that, add some reproduction steps so the customer can understand of what we have done in order to find this issue. So, for example, step 1 could be, let's see, click on the search field of the header. Step 2 would be something like enter what we written down inside of the description here, the code that we use to find out about the cross-site scripting. And step 3 would just be pretty simple: press enter in order to execute the search query. And after this, we can write a little note as well. We will now get a pop-up, and I think that would be it for the example, at least. We don't really need to make a suggestion. It's not required to have one, but maybe we can put something in here like sanitize input fields in order to avoid this. And so as we can see right now, the reproduction steps are not really greatly listed right here, and because we could also write a lot more. So there are some specific fields inside of the findings that we can just expand on, so that we can sort of customize it on how much information we want to write down here. There isn't really any specific limit. It's just like required that at least something is here. So I think everything of this finding is documented, so we can just save it. Have a quick overview right here. I don't see any need for adding a additional comment here. So if we would exit this application or the objective that we did right now, we can see here the progress is at least a little bit. You can probably really see it because we have like 95 objectives in total. So we make a little bit of progress. So in the end, we just have to go through every objective and see if we can find anything, and also get a small overview of what we can see right here. And also directly in the project, you would also be able to export the report with all the information that you've filled in for each of the objectives. Of course, this is not available right now. This is something we have to do as well, which we will probably add an additional microservice for this. But this is a basic idea of how you would use the application. So let me just quickly go back to the presentation itself, and enable the presentation mode again. So this was a small demo of what we have done, and just to give a glance into the future, what we are still planning to do. This is the roadmap, more like a bit of brainstorming that we did on our side. So we're currently at the pre-alpha for the NOAA Summit, where we have like some key features at least here. But before we want to make the repository public, we want to add some quality of life improvements, fix some additional bugs, and also expand on the stuff that you saw here, like, for example, creating the report. And the repository is meant to be public early next year, so that other people can try it out and maybe give us feedback of what is good, what is bad, or if they found any issues with it. We also want to add some additional stuff over the time, like adding another, like inside of the objectives, additional resources like tool hints for what you could need for this objective that you're doing right now, or like general mitigation that this issue probably solves. And yeah, also add some expand on the features that you saw right here. So not just entering text inside of findings or comments, which is more or less the same, but also adding or uploading screenshots in case you want to add this to your finding as well. And also expanding on the role model, enabling multiple penetration testers to work inside of the same project. So yeah, and what happens in the future, I guess we will see.